Yudhishthir sends Arjun to perform penance in the Himalayas for obtaining Daivastras for the incoming battle with the Kauravas. After observing severe austerities, Arjun gets the destructive weapon Pashupat Astra from Mahadev and many Daivastras from Devas in Swarga, and also learned music and dance from Gandharva Chitrasena. When Duryodhan with Kuru army attacked Matsya kingdom to loot their enormous herd of cows, Brihannala, that is Arjun, fights and defeats all the Kuru bigwigs single-handedly, tasting victory after 13 years of wait. Agatavasa ends. Pandavas reveal their identity. King Virat wants to bequeath his daughter Uttara to Arjun. Arjun says Uttara is like his daughter and he gets her married to his son Abhimanyu. When Krishna asks Arjun, why did he choose him? Arjun expresses his desire that he wishes to win the battle riding a chariot driven by Krishna.
Namaste. Welcome to Sangam Talks. Today we have Dr. Shanta Chawla ji with us, and she's going to speak about her book, Warrior Heart, The Story of Arjuna and Mahabharata. Dr. Shanta Chawla is a doctorate in physics and a former scientist at the National Physical Laboratory. She has published over 100 research papers and mentored many students. She has inquisitively explored Mahabharata with its historicity and authored the book. Today she is going to speak about the fascinating story of the Mahabharata war with a timeline, a scientific chronology of the events as derived from archaeoastronomy to match all the epic related or epic described conjunction for the year and the date of the Mahabharata war. And she will also be discussing along with this about this incredible journey of Arjuna as he grows into an invincible warrior with a sensitive heart. So, without taking any further time, let's directly get into the talk.
The time was a few thousand years ago. A sage named Ugrashrava Sauti walks into a forest, Naimisharanya, situated along the Gomti River, some 94 kilometers from present-day Lucknow, and meets a gathering of sages there. Sauti tells them that he attended the snake sacrifice of Hastinapur king Janmejaya, the great-grandson of Arjun, and he heard sage Vaishampayan narrating Bharata, the Pandava Kaurava saga, composed by Krishna Dvaipayan Vyasa. After hearing the great story, he visited many related places and also Samanta Panchak, where the great battle between the Pandavas and Kauravas were fought. The sages get very much interested, and knowing that Ugrashrava is an excellent orator, they request him, we are desirous of hearing that history, also called Bharata, the holy composition of the wonderful Vyasa, which dispelleth the fear of evil, just as it was cheerfully recited by the Rishi Vaishampayana under the direction of Dvaipayana himself at the snake sacrifice of Raja Janmejaya. Thus, the Mahabharata begins in the Adi Parva, and Sauti starts narrating the incidents to the sages. He says that Vyasa composed the shlokas in his mind and approached Brahma to suggest a scribe. Brahma advised him to request Ganesha, an expert writer. Ganesha said, I can agree in one condition. My pen should not stop writing for a moment. It was very difficult to instantly compose and dictate so many verses without a pause, even for a great poet like Veda Vyasa. Vyasa said, that is fine, but you also have to agree to my condition. You will not write without comprehending the shlokas. Ganesha agreed. The venue was in the Himalayas, some 4 kilometers away from Badrinath, present-day village Mana. There are two gufas on the banks of river Saraswati. One is called Vyasa Gufa, the other is Ganesha Gufa. Vyasa knitted the knots of the shlokas in such a way that Ganesha had to stop many times to comprehend the meaning. Vyasa found the time to think and compose the next slok. Under Vyasa's direction, sage Vaishampayana recited 24,000 verses, which were known as Bharata. More verses were added to make the present form of 100,000 verses, which was narrated by Ugrashrava Sauti. So, this is the story of the composition of the Mahabharata. Mahabharata with 18 parvas, 100,000 verses, is the greatest epic and the longest verse ever written on earth as per existing knowledge. The first English translation of unabridged version was done by Kishori Mohan Ganguly in 1883 to 1886, which has 18 parvas, 12 volumes, and 5,000 pages. Bhandarkar Oriental Research Institute started a research project on April 1919 on 1,259 manuscripts of Mahabharata of many regional versions by several scholars for 5 decades, which led to Bori Critical Edition, and this was released in 1966 in the hands of Dr. S. Radhakrishnan, the then president. Bori Critical Edition has 18 parvas, 89,000 verses, 19 volumes, and 15,000 pages. Now, Vyasa called it Itihasa. Itihasa, meaning ye nishchit tha. So indeed it was, suggesting that the incredible happenings narrated in the epic is not a work of fiction. Mahabharata was published by Vyasa to mankind only after Pandavas departed on their last journey, which means it is not a history written by victors. It is written with the poetic sensitivity by a sage who was a biological father of Dhritarashtra, Pandu, and Vidur, and who remained distant yet involved with his progeny, whom he understood too well. It is the history of people of Bharatvarsha, many ruling dynasties, their social values and customs, ethics, geography, and politics of the era, valor of warriors, and their mighty weapons. It is aptly said that what is not there in the Mahabharata is nowhere else. But how does one know when the incidents happen, if they happened? Is it indeed history? Did Vyasa leave any clue for the readers to validate the Itihasa? Is the evidence for the date of the Mahabharata war is preserved in the epic itself? Now, Mahabharata mentions many geographical locations, various places. Many of them exist by the same name even now. Many rivers and their course, many flow by the same name. Many royal dynasties whose genealogy can be traced. Apart from all this, there are about 150 astronomical references based on planets, comets, and stars or nakshatras. Among them, astronomical events described in the Udyaka Parva and Bhishma Parva are relevant for inferring the date of the great Mahabharata war fought in the Kurukshetra region. In the Udyaka Parva, Pandavas were staying in Upaplava Nagari in the Virat kingdom, and after the wedding of Abhimanyu with Uttara, the peace negotiations start. And when all negotiations by emissaries fail, Krishna starts on a peace mission from Upaplava Nagari on Revati Nakshatra. He reaches Hastinapur on Bharani Nakshatra. There is a lunar eclipse on the Kartika Purnima. The peace talk continues until the day of Pushya Nakshatra. Duryodhana turns down each and every effort of Krishna and refuses to give even a needle point of territory to the Pandavas. This makes the war inevitable. After the failed peace mission, Krishna leaves Hastinapur on the day of Uttar Phalguni Nakshatra. On his way back, Krishna meets Karna, takes him on his chariot, and rides together to persuade him to join the Pandavas. Krishna tells Karna that 7 days hence after, when the new moon, Amavasya, would occur at Jyeshtha Nakshatra, war rituals would start. Karna replies that there will be solar eclipse on that day. Saturn would be at Rohini and Mars would become retrograde near Jyeshtha. So several scholars have analyzed the planetary and stellar positions in the Udyaka and Bhishma Parvas and inferred that the commonality of 4 main conjunctions before the great battle. The first, the Saturn was in Rohini. Mars had become retrograde before reaching Jyeshtha, lunar eclipse at full moon of Kartika, and solar eclipse at Jyeshtha. 3 eclipses, 2 lunar and 1 solar occurred within a lunar month, which is a rare phenomena. On the date of the Mahabharata war, many researchers have based their queries on linguistics, texts and scriptures, onset of Kali Yuga, that is on 3102 BCE, genealogies of royal dynasties, archaeology, astronomical references. Based on all of the above, about 60 scholars predict the date to be around 3000 BCE. For astronomy-based predictions, about 20 scholars again give the date around 3000 BCE. By software simulation of ancient sky, Dr. Narhari Achar during 2000 to 2004 searched for the years from 3500 BCE to 500 CE. First, he looked for the years when Saturn was in conjunction with Rohini. It gave 137 such conjunctions in that period. Further restrictions were made by putting retrograde Mars just before Jyeshtha and Saturn near Rohini. It gave 17 dates. But a lunar eclipse at full moon of Kartika has to happen. It gives 2 dates, 3067 BCE and 2183 BCE. Solar eclipse at Jyeshtha happens both in 3067 BCE and 2183 BCE. Archer argues that for the war to happen on 2183 BCE, the starting date of the war falls on a new moon, that is Amavasya day. For the date of 3067 BCE, the war ends on a new moon day. Also, Uttarayan, that is 13 January 3066 BCE, occurred in Shukla Panchami, whereas the winter solstice in 2182 BCE occurred on Krishna Chaturthi. Now, the fact to consider is the date of Bhishma on his bed of arrows after the winter solstice, 13th January, on the day of Magha Shukla Ashtami. This is a reference of Dr. Narhari Achar's work. Now, to resolve the issue between these 2 years, let us look for evidence in the epic. In Drona Parva, the war continues on the 14th night. In the wee hours, a moon arose, which was full-arched and radiant as Karna's bow, and delightful and charming as a smile on the lips of a bashful bride. This indicates that the 14th night must be Dashami or Ekadashi, approaching a new moon, Amavasya. If the war starts on an Amavasya day, on 2183 BCE, the 14th night would be close to full moon, and the full-arched bow-like moon cannot happen. Hence, the war must have started few days after the full moon day, so that the 14th day is Ekadashi, and the 18th day, the last day of the war, is Amavasya. Hence, 3067 BCE seems to be the year of the war, when the war is predicted to be ending on an Amavasya day. The result of exact software simulation of planetary configurations of the ancient sky by Dr. Narhari Achar in 2000 during 2000 to 2004, and calculations of Dr. Raghavan in 1969, a mathematician and astronomer, give the following dates of the events. Krishna's departure for Hastinapur on Revati Nakshatra was on September 26, 3067 BCE. Krishna reaches Hastinapur on Bharani Nakshatra on September 28. Lunar eclipse on Kartika Purnima on Kritika Nakshatra, September 29. Krishna rides with Karna, Uttar Phalguni Nakshatra, October 8. Solar eclipse at Jyeshtha Nakshatra on October 14. Lunar eclipse on October 28. Balarama, who did not take part in the Kurukshetra war, sets off on pilgrimage on Saraswati and Pushpa Nakshatra on November 1. And war starts, Moon and Bharani Nakshatra on November 22, 3067 BCE. 14th day of war continued till the early hours in the morning, December 8. Ghatatkacha was killed on that day when moon rose at 2 a.m., December 8. Balarama returns on the last day of the war, Shravani Nakshatra, December 12. Winter solstice falls on January 13, 3066 BCE. Bhishma expires on Magha Shukla Ashtami, Rohini Nakshatra, on January 17. And Krishna leaves his human body after 36 years on 3031 BCE. The date of 3067 BCE has been inferred based completely on the planetary and astronomical conjunctions as specified in the Mahabharata that conform with all the epic mentioned references of astronomical conjunctions, such as all the 4 planetary configurations are satisfied. The war ends on Amavasya day, and on the 14th night, an arched moon described in the epic like Karna's bow seems possible. Bhishma expires on Magha Shukla Ashtami, just after Uttarayan, winter solstice. Krishna's death happens after 36 years of the Kurukshetra war, which also matches with astronomical predictions happening on 3031 BCE, like an eclipse season with 3 eclipses, with 2 lunar ones at the ends happening as during the war. It indicates the time when infighting of Yadavas in Dwarka makes them extinct and Krishna leaves his human body. The great Mahabharata war was fought in the Kurukshetra region by most kings and their soldiers of the entire Bharatvarsha, from Gandhar in the north to Madhya Pradesh in south, Dwarka in the west to Magad in the east, and 18 Akshohini, about 4 million men perished. The story is so fascinating. Characters are so intriguing, and the happenings are so incredible that I felt the urge to narrate the Pandava Kaurava saga in a continuous fashion without numerous intertwined sub-stories of the epic, and put a timeline of the events based on the scientifically derived date of the war and other references of time and ages of characters mentioned in the epic. The result is the book Warrior Heart, the story of Arjuna and Mahabharata. I have chosen Arjuna as the central character as he is truly the hero of the epic, an unparalleled archer and warrior, the architect of Pandava's victory, an honest and brave human being with a sensitive heart. I have delved as well into the essence of various other characters who influenced various actions. This is the cover page of the book. I have chosen this figure which resembles the hand of God and the blue god Krishna holding a Sudarshan Chakra. But this is actually the image of a pulsar wind nebula taken by NASA. Now, to give a timeline, scientifically derived date of the war, 3067 BCE, is the basis of the chronology of the various events. How old was Arjuna and Krishna during the war? We get a clue from the Agyatavasa Parva that Bhim was 60 years old on the 4th month of Agyatavasa. War happens approximately 2 years after that. So, Bhim must be about 62 during war. Arjuna is 2 years younger to Bhim. Arjuna and Krishna are of the same age. Arjuna and Krishna are 60 years old on 3067 BCE during the war. Hence, Arjuna must have been born on 3127 BCE. Yudhishthira was 16 years old when they come to Hastinapur from the mountain abode. Arjuna is 4 years younger to Yudhishthir. He is 12 years old at that time. So the year must be 3115 BCE. So my narration in the book starts when Pandavas arrive at Hastinapur. Venu is Hastinapur, and at 3115 BCE. Now, 2 persons are very important in Arjuna's life. Karna, his arch rival, and Krishna, his dearest friend, philosopher, and guide. I have narrated what was happening in their life during the same time. Karna was born in Kunti's maidenhood from Surya Deva through invocation of the hymn given to her by the sage Durvasha. Kunti got married to Pandu in the subsequent year. Within a month of her marriage, Pandu was again married to Madri. After about a year, Pandu leaves Hastinapur with his 2 wives to live in the Himalayas. Pandu was incapable of procreating, but he wanted 2 sons through Niyoga custom, which was socially acceptable at that time. Through Durvasa's boon again, Kunti gets 3 sons, Yudhishthir, Bhim, Arjun, and Madri gets 2 sons, Nakul and Sahadeva. They spent a total of 18 years in the Shatashringa Mahils. They leave for Hastinapur after the death of Pandu when Yudhishthir was 16. Considering all this, Karna must be older than Arjuna by at least 10 years. Kunti could not keep Karna, the son born in her maidenhood, and put the newborn Karna in a golden basket and let it flow in the river Ashwanadi in Madhya Pradesh. The basket went to river Ganga and reached Champa, which is in present-day Bihar, where Karna was brought up by foster parents Adhirath and Rath. Karna leaves Champa to make his career in Hastinapur in the same year, 3115 BCE. Now, Krishna in Kashi, ashram of sage Ghor, in 3115 BCE. Krishna and his brother Balaram go to various Gurukul for learning. Krishna returns to Vrindavan, later kills Kamsa at Mathura, fights with mighty army of Jarasandha, and builds a new habitat for Yadavas at Dwarka. Pandavas spend about 2 years in Hastinapur, playing and getting some lessons from Kripacharya. Then all the princes and Karna were sent to Gurugram, the school of warcraft of Brahman teacher Dronacharya. I've kept the training period 4 years to match with other events and their durations. Now, Karna with Parashuram, Mahendra Parvat, 3111 BCE. When Drona refuses Karna the knowledge of Brahma weapon, which Karna wanted to become superior to Arjun, Karna goes to Parashuram, gains entry by faking as a Brahman, and learns the techniques of mighty weapons, only to be cursed when Parashuram discovers his lie. After the training period, a show of skill was arranged at Hastinapur and 3108 BCE. And after this, the first battle, Drona's Guru Dakshina battle, happens in Panchal in 3108 BCE. Yudhishthir is made crown prince. They are sent to inflammable house Jatugriha in 3107 BCE. Draupadi Sayambara happens in Kampilla in 3104 BCE. Hastinapur, after the Sayambara, Pandavas get Khandaprastha, 3104 to 3100 BCE. They make their capital there, near Delhi, and rule there. But Arjuna leaves for exile for violating marriage rule, and he goes for 12 years exile, Vanavasa, from 3100 to 3088 BCE. Arjuna comes back and burns Khandava forest with Krishna. And Mayadana builds Indraprastha, the palace of illusions, and they rule there 3087 to 3081 BCE. Yudhishthir makes the Rajasuya sacrifice. Duryodhan gets so jealous, he arranges a game of dice in Hastinapur in 3081 BCE. Yudhishthir loses the game and everybody and Draupadi. Draupadi was brought to the court and Draupadi's ordeal, Hastinapur on 3081 BCE. Again, the second game of dice, Hastinapur on 3081 BCE. Pandavas and Draupadi go in Vanavas for 12 years after losing the game, 3081 to 3069 BCE. Then 1 year Agyatavas, living incognito in Virata kingdom on 3068 BCE. After their ordeal is over, the peace initiatives and preparation for war happens. Pandavas are in Upaplava Nagari in 3067 BCE. Then the great battle of Kurukshetra, 3067 BCE, November 22. After the end of 18 days bloody battle, 3067 BCE, December, the Pandava heir Parikshit was born at Hastinapura in 3066 BCE. After that, I take a leap and write what happens after 36 years of the Kurukshetra war. In Dwarka, 3031 BCE, Yadavas annihilate themselves by infighting. Krishna and Balaram leaves their human body, and after that Pandavas and Draupadi leave for their last journey, Mahaprasthana. Now I have put a character index of all the characters of the narration, and I have put some 6 appendices, measurement units of Mahabharata era, explanatory notes on various chapters, historicity and timeline of the Mahabharata, and history and genealogy of royal dynasties in Bharatvarsha, who are Devas and where was Swarga, and map of ancient India and Asia. This is the detail of the book and the link for the website, author publisher's website, and the Amazon website. This is the structure of the book to narrate the great story in a gripping continuity. As the story of the epic is well known, I am not going to the contents of the chapters. I would like to discuss mainly Arjun and his life briefly. Arjun is special for Pandu and Kunti, as they did difficult penance for 1 year to please the king of Devas, Indra, to come and unite with Kunti to give them a son equal to in power, vigor, and exceptional talent. After the birth of Arjuna in the mountains, many sages and devas predict that this son would bring glory to the dynasty and make the kingdom unconquerable. So, an expectation from him builds from his childhood. After death of Pandu, Pandavas come to Hastinapur, but they do not feel wanted there. The incident of poisoning of Bhim happens. They know Duryodhan did it out of jealousy, but cannot raise a voice as the blind king Dhritarashtra is blind in affection for his eldest son Duryodhan, in whom he germinated the ambition of being the king of Hastinapur. Uncle Vidur is on their support and he advises them to keep silent. From them on, Yudhishthir starts assuming the guardianship of the brothers. They realize that they are weak in a hostile environment. They have to remain united. They have to be strong to fight against the adverse situation. The princes are sent to the school of warcraft of Guru Dronacharya in Gurugram. After the welcome speech, Drona asks all the princes to fight a battle for him after their training gets completed. Who will be ready to do it? All stood silently with bowed head. Only one voice spoke, the dark Pandava Arjun. With his fists clenched, he replied, I shall do whatever you order me to do, sir. The confidence to do what even a master like Drona could not achieve marked the heroic isolation of the boy in the eyes of his teacher. At that instant, Drona hugged Arjun, smelled his head, and the picture of the boy with determined eyes and clenched fist stayed in his mind. Arjun resolves to master archery and practices relentlessly, learning new techniques from his guru, who, seeing his devotion and hunger for knowledge, promises him that he will teach him so that he will be incomparable as an archer. On a hunting trip to the forest, when Pandavas see Eklavya, the Nishada boy with exemplary archery skills, Arjun comes back and reports to Drona. Arjun reminds Drona his promise to train Arjun to be the best archer. And how come Eklavya, who claims to be Drona's disciple, has better skills than him? Drona demands Eklavya's right thumb as Guru Dakshina, thus eliminating a future competitor of Arjun. Arjun was very young then. Perhaps he did not realize the gravity of the act. In the school, Arjun proves himself to be the best student. Drona is all praise for him. In the show of skill at Hastinapur, after the training, Drona arranges a special display of Arjun's skills, and mesmerized audience creates an uproar. Kunti feels so happy that their penance is bringing fruit now. At that time, Karna enters the arena, displays all that Arjun has shown, and dares him in a duel. Arjun's day of glory, meticulously planned by Dronacharya, is spoilt by Karna. Arjun is disheartened. He realizes that there may be many Eklavyas, many Karnas in the world beyond Gurugram, and to become the best archer, he has to practice relentlessly. Just after the show, Drona wants Guru Dakshina by defeating Panchal king Drupad. Arjun asks Pandavas to stay back, not to join the Kuru princess and Karna in the fight. After Karna's boasting in the show of skill, Arjun wants to gauge the prowess of Karna in a real battle. And he does not want his efforts and credits to get diluted in a crowd when Karna is fighting the same battle. Karna with Duryodhana and brothers are defeated miserably by Drupad and flee. Then Arjun, accompanied only by Bhim, defeats and brings Drupad alive through Drona, establishing his superiority as a warrior. Drupad remembers the valor of Arjun. Praise of Pandavas by all creates jealousy in Dhritarashtra and Duryodhana, who sends them to Baranavat to be burnt alive in a house of black, Jatugriha. Pandavas and Kunti escape Jatugriha carnage with the help of Vidur, while all understand that they are dead. They are roaming in the forest, and after some time, Pandavas in the guise of Brahmans go to the Swayamvar of Draupadi, exquisitely beautiful daughter of Drupad. When all kings, including Karna, fail to string the mighty bow to hit the target of piercing the fisheye fixed above by seeing a reflection in water, Arjun, disguised as a Brahman, strings the bow with utmost ease and pierces the target. Amidst the applause, Draupadi, with a subtle smile of approval, Vinapi hasang hasativa kanya, an elated drunkenness, Madadritevis khalativa bhavai, on her footsteps, comes forward, stands before Arjun, and garlands him. A fight breaks among the suitors. How can a Brahmin get the princess? Arjun fights fiercely with others as well as Karna. When they reach their hut with Draupadi, and Kunti asks them to share the day's booty equally among all the 5 brothers, the onus of the decision falls on Yudhishthir. Yudhishthir witnessed with what bravery, fineness of mastery, archery skill, Arjun had won Panchali, and how charmed and impressed Draupadi was when she garlanded Arjun. He says to Arjun, Arjun, you have won Panchali. In the Swayamvar, you marry her. Arjun, in his heroic decency, says that being a younger brother, if he marries first, he will do adharma. Draupadi is startled that the man whom she has given her heart is withdrawing himself from her. Yudhishthir looks at his brothers and he sees desire written all over their face for Draupadi, in their eyes. He does not ask Arjun again and proclaims that Draupadi will be the wife of all 5 brothers. Arjun does not say a word. He buries the deepest feelings of his heart that has been churning him since he saw Draupadi first. He accepts with forbearance the 1/5 ownership of a wife whom only he has won. When Pandavas established their kingdom at Khandavaprastha, a region around present-day Delhi, they set a marriage rule at the advice of sage Narada. Arjun is compelled to enter the Astragar, where Yudhishthir was intimate with Draupadi, to fetch weapon to help a Brahman, thus violating the marriage rule. Arjun tells Yudhishthir that he must go to exile for 12 years. Yudhishthir forbids once, but Arjun says he has to follow the set rule, as dharma cannot be observed through cleverness. He does not relent, thinking if he stays back at Yudhishthir's request, others would think that he does not want to lose the conjugal life with Draupadi as he won her. Arjun goes for 12 years exile. Arjun travels to Bharatvarsha to calm his deprived heart. Later, he marries Ulupi, Naga princess, for a night stay. Manipur princess Chitrangada, staying with her for 3 years and having his first son Babhruvahana. He resumes his Bharat Yatra and reaches Krishna's place, Dwarka, where, smitten by beauty of Krishna's sister Subhadra, abducts and marries her. Arjun comes back to Khandavaprastha with Subhadra after 12 years. Draupadi is inconsolable to share Arjun, but Arjun sends Subhadra as a maid to serve Draupadi, which appeases her as Draupadi realizes that she has no competition from Subhadra. Subhadra is blessed with Abhimanyu, and Draupadi has 5 sons, each from her 5 husbands. After that, Arjun and Krishna burn Khandava forest, but saves architect Maya, who, overwhelmed by Arjun's kindness, builds an exquisite palace of illusions at Indraprastha for Pandavas. In the Rajasuya sacrifice, Duryodhana sees the unrivaled prosperity and wealth of Pandavas and suffers in the palace of illusions, gets mocked by Bhim and others. Duryodhana returns to Hastinapur, burning with jealousy. Duryodhana and Shakuni arrange a game of dice to rob Yudhishthir, a novice in the game. In the rigged game of dice, Yudhishthir loses all his wealth, kingdom, his brothers, himself in wager, and then Draupadi. 4 brothers remain helpless spectators. Draupadi is molested in the court by Dushashan physically, and Karna and Duryodhan verbally. Her husbands remain mute spectators. Draupadi is like Nathavatim Anathavat. But Bhim is restless and wants to burn the hands of Yudhishthir that cast the dice. Arjun restrains Bhim and asks him not to fall into the heinous plot of the enemies whose intention is to create discord amongst Pandava brothers and incite them to sinful actions. Arjun asks Bhim to abide by dharma and act accordingly. Draupadi is agonized that Arjun, who could instantly fight and defeat all in the assembly, is restraining him so that Yudhishthir is not further insulted, does nothing to protect her, not even protested. But Arjun follows his dharma of abiding by his elder brother. When Yudhishthir again loses the second game of dice, Pandavas with Draupadi leave for forest. Dushashan keeps sprinkling salt to the torment of Pandavas, and Draupadi mocks Bhim. Duryodhan mocks Bhim. Bhim repeats how he would kill Duryodhan and Dushashan, how Sahadev would kill Shakuni, and how Arjun would finish Karna. Arjun calmly tells Bhim not to answer but wait till the 14th year to show how they punish the sinners. During the forest exile, many times Bhim and Draupadi get angry over Yudhishthir for his actions leading to their suffering. But Arjun always remains a follower of Yudhishthir. Yudhishthir sends Arjun to perform penance in the Himalayas for obtaining Daivastras for the incoming battle with the Kauravas. After observing severe austerities, Arjun gets the destructive weapon Pashupat Astra from Mahadev and many Daivastras from Devas in Swarga, and also learned music and dance from Gandharva Chitrasena to excellence. Arjun returns to Pandavas and Draupadi with many Daivastras after 5 years and conveys to Yudhishthir the assessment of Indra that Bhishma, Drona, Kripa, Karna and Shakuni together with other Kshatriyas would not be even equivalent to 1/16 of his prowess. During Agyatavas in Matsya kingdom, Arjun stays in the ladies' quarter as a danseuse and musician in the guise of eunuch named Brihannala. When Duryodhan with Kuru army attack Matsya kingdom to loot their enormous herd of cows, Brihannala, that is Arjun, fights and defeats all the Kuru bigwigs single-handedly, tasting victory after 13 years of wait. Agyatavasa ends. Pandavas reveal their identity. King Virat wants to bequeath his daughter Uttara to Arjun. And Arjun says Uttara is like his daughter, and he gets her married to his son Abhimanyu. In the Uddega Parva, peace effort and preparation of war continues. Arjun chooses a non-warring, weaponless Krishna, and Duryodhan is elated as Arjun's foolish choice as he gets the booty of one Akshahuni Narayani Sena from Krishna. When Krishna asks Arjun, why did he choose him? Arjun expresses his desire that he wishes to win the battle, riding a chariot driven by Krishna. Arjun also knows in his heart that where dharma is, there Krishna is. Where Krishna is, there is victory. Yato dharma, tato Krishna, yatah Krishna, tato jaya. Before the start of the war, Yudhishthir asks Arjun, in the Kuru camp, warriors are counting days to finish us. How long will you take, Arjun, to annihilate the even 11 Akshauhini Kuru force? Arjun answers with his characteristic humility. If Krishna wishes, I can finish all in a single day with the dangerous weapon of mass destruction, Pashupatastra, which only I have, they do not. But I shall not use it, as such a weapon must not be used in a general war. I shall fight with normal weapons as others, and I shall use a special weapon only against a special weapon. This shows the enormous restraint and honesty of a superlative warrior who has in his possession many powerful weapons of mass destruction, but he refrains from using them in the battle, though he knows that the onus of winning the battle is on him and they must win to avenge all the humiliations. The war is to start, and Arjun requests Krishna to place his chariot in between the two armies to gauge the strength of the opponent. But as he sees the loving faces of his father figures, Bhishma, Drona, Kripa, his heart is in turmoil. How can he kill those people whom he loves and respects so much? They love him so much. What happiness will he get in that victory? Krishna teaches him philosophy of Gita, and Arjun visualizes the cosmic form of Krishna. Arjun resolves to fight, but he fights Bhishma only half-heartedly because he loves Bhishma so much. But Bhishma fiercely destroys Pandava army, 10,000 each day in whole. Annoyed Krishna runs twice on the 3rd and the 9th day of the war to kill Bhishma, breaking his non-warring vow. Arjun restrains him. Bhishma falls on the 10th day, struck by Arjun's arrows. Arjun riding his chariot by the side of Shikhandis. On the 13th day, merciless killing of Abhimanyu happens within the Chakravyuha by 6 warriors, simultaneously attacking him in most immoral and unethical manner, breaking all war rules. Arjun is inconsolable after losing Abhimanyu, and he vows to kill Jayadratha the next day. Arjun makes inhuman effort on the 14th day to keep his vow when he destroys single-handedly 7 Akshauhini tribes. It is 1.5 million men traversing intricate Vuha formation made by Drona, stretching over 48 miles. Arjun does not approve Yudhishthir's lie to bring Drona's end on the 15th day, and he is aggrieved to lose his father-like teacher. On the 17th day, when Arjun and Krishna go to the camp to see Yudhishthir brutally wounded by Karna's shafts, Yudhishthir gets extremely angry after hearing that Arjun has not killed Karna yet. Yudhishthir insults Arjun and his Gandhi in such abominable language that Arjun draws out a sword for killing Yudhishthir. Krishna tries to pacify Arjun, but Arjun says he took the vow that whoever insults his Gandhi, he will kill him, and now he has to kill Yudhishthir. Krishna advises Arjun to kill Yudhishthir with insulting and disrespecting words, which is equivalent to murder. Arjun tears Yudhishthir with words of harsh and bitter truth that he never did in his life. But as he repents later and wants to kill himself, Krishna advises him to atone his sin by proclaiming his own merit, which is equivalent to suicide. Then Arjun slays Karna on the 17th day. Bhim fulfills his vow of killing Dushasan on the 17th day and mortally wounding Duryodhan by breaking his knees on the 18th day. Wounded Duryodhan appoints Ashwatthama as the last general of Kuru army, and Ashwatthama takes dreadful revenge by killing 5 sons of Draupadi, Drishtadyumna, Shikhandi, and everybody in the Pandava camp while they were asleep on the 18th night. The news of the midnight massacre strikes Pandavas, and Krishna, like lightning, hits a tree. Draupadi is devastated and inconsolable. Draupadi demands that Ashwatthama be brought immediately killed for his heinous act. The jewel that sits on Ashwatthama's forehead to be brought as proof, else she shall fast unto death in front of her husbands. Bhim immediately rides the chariot with Nakul to find Ashwatthama. Krishna and Arjun, taking Yudhishthir along, rush after him. Seeing them, scared Ashwatthama invokes Brahmashirastra and ejects the fatal weapon for the destruction of the Pandavas. At Krishna's advice, Arjun also invokes Brahmashirastra to counter it. Seeing the dreadful spectacle of the 2 blazing weapons speeding from opposite directions, sage Vyas and Narad rush between Arjun and Ashwatthama and warn that the region where Brahmashirastras are hid becomes barren for 12 years. The sages ask both to withdraw the weapon. Arjun withdraws his weapon, which is an extremely difficult feat, but Ashwatthama does not agree. The settlement for withdrawal is that Ashwatthama's life will be spared, but he has to part with the jewel in his forehead. Ashwatthama then reveals that he does not know how to retract it, but only can divert its target. Instead of killing the Pandavas, it will destroy the last seed of Pandavas lying in Uttara's womb. Seeing no other alternative, all agree. Krishna condemns the wretchedness of Ashwatthama and curses him. Yudhishthir becomes the king of Hastinapur. Pandava brothers go in mission to replenish empty Hastinapur treasury. Uttara gives birth to his son, but he appears stillborn. Krishna promises that he will revive the 6-month-old fetus. Krishna treats the newborn, and after a long wait, the tiny eyes open slowly towards Krishna. Filled with indescribable ecstasy, Uttara takes the child in her embrace, salutes Krishna in absolute gratefulness and reverence. Krishna names the newborn Parikshit as he is born to revive the clan at its time of near extinction. Pandavas return to Hastinapur with wealth after a month. As they enter the palace, Krishna greets them with his famed smile. Uttara comes running with Parikshit in her arms and stands before Arjun. Arjun takes the child in his arms, looks at his grandson, tears well up in Arjun's eyes, and devotes to Krishna. After 36 years, Daruk, Krishna's charioteer, comes to Hastinapur and narrates to Pandavas how all Yadava clans have perished in fighting and how Krishna has been killed by a hunter. Arjun and Pandavas are speechless in grief. As per Krishna's wish, Arjun goes to Dwarka to rescue the women and children. Arjun is overwhelmed with sorrow and crying. Arjun searches and finds the bodies of Krishna and Balaram with tears in his eyes. Arjun arranges their last rites. Arjun performs the funeral rites of Yadus killed in the carnage. On the seventh day, Arjun leaves Dwarka with Krishna's grandson, and thousands of Dwarka residents, including mostly women, old, and children. As Arjun looks back, he sees the sea rushing through the streets into the beautiful city of Dwarka, submerging beautiful buildings, and in a few moments, it is all sea without any trace of Krishna's Dwarka. On the way, dacoits attacked the cavalcade from the rear at various places. Arjun lifts his mighty Gandiv. Stringing is a great effort for him that day. He fails to call any Daivastra. His once inexhaustible quiver gets depleted. Ashamed and frustrated, Arjun, unable to restrain the dacoits, continue his journey with the rest of people, women, the remnant wealth, and reaches Kurukshetra. Arjun makes Krishna's grandson Vajra the king of Indraprastha. Krishna's last wish could only be fulfilled partially by Arjun. Arjun's legendary prowess is no more with him, as if part of him has died with his dear friend Krishna. Tears flow from Arjun's eyes, feeling lonely, dejected, and cheerless. Arjun goes to seek advice from sage Vyas, who consoles him and says that the time has come for him to attain his highest goal and leave this world. Yudhishthir, Bhim, Nakul, and Sahadev agree to Arjun's word to leave this world. Yudhishthir installs Parikshit as the king on the Hastinapur throne. Pandavas and Draupadi leave Hastinapur. Traveling through different countries, they reach the Sea of Red Waters, where they face Agni Deva, who demands that Arjun must return his mighty bow Gandiv to him. Arjun parts away with his prized weapon reluctantly. They move to Himalayas, exhausted. First Draupadi, then Sahadev and Nakul fall down on the rocky path. Yudhishthir leaves them to die there and pronounces their sin to Bhim. Arjun is heartbroken. Grief-stricken Arjun falls on the rocky terrain. When he hears Yudhishthir pronouncing his sin, he looks back at his life and the tremendous expectations that people had from him and how he toiled to fulfill them. Arjun takes recourse to his eternal friend Krishna. He remembers Krishna's advice of the 3 hymns from Chandogya Upanishad that a wise man should utter when his time ends. Arjuna utters in his breath, Akshitamasi, Achyutamasi, Prana Samsitamasi iti. You are eternal, you are undeviating, you are subtle truth enlivening the universe. Arjun closes his eyes.